Secondly, I find it interesting that our local government friends talk about how we're going to lose businesses as a result of this, and the Florida Chamber of Commerce supports the bill. So I don't think that that's a credible argument. Secondly, I don't believe that our friends from local government have or can provide any example of anywhere in the United States of America where failure to have a recapture rule has caused business activity to go down. And finally, there is no requirement as to how this bill would be implemented. It might be implemented with a glide path over a number of years. That's entirely up to the legislature. I return to the point that it is indefensible to have to explain to people that when their values go up, their taxes go up, but when their values go down, their taxes go up. So I ask for your support.
Thank you. Please call the roll on SJR 1074.
Senator Altman?
Yes.
Senator Diaz-Portillo?
Yes.
Senator Flores?
Yes.
Senator Margolis?
Yes.
Senator Simpson? Senator Soto? Senator Hugel? Mr. Chair?
Yes. With that, show your SJR 1074.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you,
Thank
Senators.
Chairman Hayes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members. It's my pleasure to introduce you today to Senate Bill 842. And with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I would like to address the strike all amendment, bar code 356214.
Take it up, please.
Thank you, sir. This amendment simply, well, the bill says that the property appraiser can extend to a tax-exempt organization the tax-exempt status on a piece of property that is owned by that exempt organization, even though they may not at that time be using it. For instance, they purchase a piece of property intending to build a headquarters on it or build some facility on it that will be a tax-exempt facility, and it takes them some time to accumulate the capital needed to carry the project to fulfillment. This bill will allow the property appraisers to extend them that tax-exempt status on that piece of property for up to 5 years. And then the amendment requires them to extend affirmative steps treatment, that's what it's called, if the entity shows that they are taking affirmative steps toward the fulfillment of that objective. Then it requires the appraisers to extend the exemption to them, but it says they have to renew that extension on an annual basis to clarify whether or not they still qualify. The amendment also clarifies that the property appraiser must disallow the affirmative steps treatment if the owner sells or uses the property in a non-exempt manner. And the amendment also clarifies that the affirmative steps includes any activity that demonstrates a commitment of the property to the tax-exempt use. Other than that, just some minor technical changes.
Thank you, Chairman Hayes. Just as a record of reference, this is Bar Code 356214, courtesy amendment by Senator Simpson. Questions on the amendment? Debate on the amendment?
I have a question.
May we recognize Senator Altman?
A real life example. So, for example, the Nature Conservancy buys a piece of property for the purposes of preserving it. But they don't have the time to build. Well, I think I'll use a better example, hospital, a not-for-profit hospital. Yeah. A hospital buys a piece of property, and of course it's going to take them time to get the permits and everything to build their tax-free hospital. This simply would give them time to do that, so they wouldn't have to be tax-free. Sure.
Any further questions? Debate on the amendment. Seeing no debate, take it in posture. All those in favor say yea.
Yea.
Opposed, nay. Amendment is adopted. We are back on the bill as amended. Questions on the bill? Seeing none, we have one appearance card. Martha Cleaver.
Florida Association of Property Appraisers waives in support of this great bill.
Property appraisers waive in support. We are in debate. Debate on the bill. Seeing none, waives is closed. Please call the roll. Committee substitute for SB 842.
Please.
Senator Altman?
Yes.
Senator Diaz-Portillo?
Yes.
Senator Flores?
Yes.
Senator Margolis?
Yes.
Senator Simpson?
Yes.
Senator Soto?
Yes.
Senator Hugel? Mr. Chair?
Yes, and with that, Chairman Hayes, your bill.
Thank you,
is
members.
reported favorably. Members, we will go to Senator Flores. take up your bills. We'll start with, we're gonna go backwards to 490.
Thank you very much, members. Members, Senate Joint Resolution 492 is somewhat similar to the first bill that we heard today, in that it's also a joint resolution asking voters to clarify a provision that we passed as a legislature and the voters approved a couple years ago. In 2008, voters approved a constitutional amendment that said that they would eliminate property taxes for low-income seniors who had lived in their home for 25 years or more, and if that home was valued at $250,000 or less. Part of the challenge that we've seen since this has been implemented is that when property appraisers go and then reassess the value, if the value goes up, even by $1, that senior is now gonna be charged property taxes on that full amount. So what this joint resolution would be to clarify that, and would say that the intention of the bill, which is what we intended, was that it would be $250,000 at the time of the application. And so that is what this joint resolution would do.
Thank you. There's a late filed amendment. We will take up barcode 562194, introduction. Okay. And then I believe you just spoke to the amendment?
Yes, and that was just kind of a clarifying amendment that was suggested by Department of Revenue.
That was the wrong barcode. It is barcode 915198, just for clarification. Senator Flores spoke to the amendment. All those in favor of adopting the amendment say yea. Opposed nay. Show the amendment adopted. We are back on the bill as amended. Questions on the bill? Seeing none. Martha Cleaver.
We support that bill as well.
Property appraisers support the bill as well. We are in debate on the bill. Seeing none, Senator Flores, you're recognized to close.
Just thank you for your support in passing this bill and providing clarification for those seniors, low-income seniors who need it. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Please call the roll on CS for SJR 492.
Senator Altman?
Yes.
Senator Diaz-de-Libertia?
Yes.
Senator Flores?
Yes.
Senator Margolis?
Yes.
Senator Simpson?
Yes.
Senator Soto?
Yes.
Senator Hugel? Mr. Chair?
Yes, with that, show your bill reported favorably. We're going to go right to your next one, Senator Flores, CS for SB 488.
And members, this is the implementing bill for the joint resolution that we just passed. And there is an amendment, and the amendment is essentially clarifying the same issue that we have with the joint resolution, which was a clarification requested by the Department of Revenue.
We will take up late filed amendment, barcode 562194. All those in favor say yea. Opposed nay. Amendment is adopted. We are back on the bill as amended. Questions on the bill? It is Martha Cleaver.
Florida Association of Property Appraisers waives in support.
Property appraisers waive in support. Debate on the bill. Seeing none, you're recognized to close. Waive close. Please call the roll for CS for SB 488.
Senator Altman?
Yes.
Senator Diaz-de-Libertia?
Yes.
Senator Flores?
Yes.
Senator Margolis?
Yes.
Senator Simpson? Senator Soto?
Yes.
Senator Hugel? Mr. Chair?
Yes, with that, Senator Flores, CS for SB 488 is adopted. Senator Bean.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and Finance and Tax. It's great to be with you. Let's talk workers' compensation. As you know, members, we have a workers' compensation insurance guarantee fund that makes sure an injured worker has the support necessary when they are injured, should their insurance company go south financially. What this bill does is create a uniform assessment percentage and recoupment and allows insurers to collect assessment and remit them to the guarantee fund. It also eliminates the premium taxes. Right now, there is a premium tax due on the collection of those assessments. And it also provides flexibility to the board of directors of the overseeing the fund to give them the tools necessary to make sure that the fund is a healthy fund so that injured workers have those resources. That is the bill. It is Bill 828.
Thank you, and yes, to clarify, we are on for CS for SB for 828. You do have one amendment, which is barcode 812608. It is late filed. We will take that up. Senator Bean, you're recognized to take up the amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This makes sure that any insurance carrier that's been, that's overpaid into that fund can get those funds back.
All those in favor of the late filed amendment say yea. Opposed, nay. Show the amendment adopted. We are back on the bills amended. If I could ask, is there any questions on the bills amended? Seeing none, we do have one appearance card. Robert Reyes.
Waive support, Mr. Chairman.
Robert Reyes from the Florida
Workers' comp guarantee.
Working Comp Hearing Waivers and Support. We are in debate on the bill. Seeing none, we recognize a close, waive close. Please call the roll on CS for SB 828.
Senator Altman,
Double
Yes.
CS for this. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Senator Diaz-Teofilo.
Yes.
Senator Flores, Senator Margolis, Senator Simpson,
Yes.
Senator Soto,
Yes.
Senator Hugel, Mr. Chair.
Yes, with that.
Chairman, members, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You are welcome. We will now go to page 4. Tab 2, Senator Altman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is SB 4346.
We allow in statute the ability of local governments to have what we call the local option infrastructure sales tax. It's approved for various infrastructural programs. It must be approved by the voters, though, prior to implementing the local option sales tax. Typically, when there's a backlog or a serious problem, the community rises up and they support these sales tax increases for only infrastructure purposes. What this bill does is it simply adds to the list of items. It's very prescriptive. You can only apply the infrastructure sales tax to those items that are set forth in statute. And what we found is some infrastructure improvements are not included. In this particular case, local governments have approached the state wanting to have the ability to include dredging, environmentally beneficial dredging. We know that the funding that comes through the Florida Inland Navigation District has been way below the need, the ability to meet the need. We've also, at the state level, appropriated dollars for dredging. This simply allows local governments, by going to the public, being a part of that process and having some skin in the game, and help come up with some local dollars. And I do have one amendment.
We will take up the amendment as barcode 252756. Senator Altman, you are recognized to explain the amendment.
This amendment doesn't change the intent of the bill. It's more technical and clarifying. We've been working with our partners over in the House, and they want it to be infinitely clear that we're not raising a tax. We're simply providing an additional tool and toolbox for local government, and specifically going toward environmental muck dredging only if there's a referendum held by the county and approved. And what this does, it clarifies the language, assuring that will happen.
Senator Soto, you are recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This would help out with the Indian River Lagoon dredging and potentially Oak Alley as well?
Absolutely. It would help the Indian River Lagoon, stress lakes like Lake Apopka, any sort of waterway that is in necessity of environmental dredging.
All those in favor, excuse me, of Amendment 252756 say yea. All those opposed nay. Show the amendment adopted. We are back on the bills amended. Questions or debate on the bill? Seeing none, Senator Altman, you will recognize the close. Oh no, I apologize. Let me go back. Kurt Spitzer from the Florida Stormwater Association. He waives in support. Okay. Waiving your close, we will now call the roll for CS for SB 346.
Senator Altman,
Yes.
Senator Diaz-Teofilo.
Yes.
Senator Flores, Senator Margolis,
Yes.
Senator Simpson,
Yes.
Senator Soto,
Yes.
Senator Hugel, Mr. Chair.
Yes, with that, Senator Altman, your bill is reported favorably. Members, we are on to the last bill. When Senator Hugel returns next week, please tell her the speed and efficiency which we conducted the meeting. We will now take up tab 1, which is SB 98, which is Chair Hugel's bill. I will recognize Elizabeth from Senator Hugel's legislative staff to